All right. Hello, everyone. So, after a kind of extended hiatus, we are back with a little bit of EV Nova. As always, I am your host, Pyre Valor, and let's jump right back into where we left off with our, I believe, pirate campaign. We had just gone over from, I believe, the Wild Geese storyline into the pirate hook as opposed to the Auroran hook. And here we are with the Lean Mean Stream Machine. I would assume the same as we left it, as I haven't played this in 6 weeks. And I think, if memory serves, we have just the first mission leading into the pirate mission string, which is to go meet with our Uncle Olaf on Titan. But before we do that, let's see if we can take care of these two bounty hunting missions. I would assume I've already done them, and I'm just going to turn them in, but you know what they say about assumptions. Alright, I have not done them. And this is kind of the issue with the bounty hunting missions, is that if you haven't done them, like right when you get them, good luck figuring out where they're supposed to be, because it doesn't mark it on your map. Although if I had to guess, they're probably not in Auroran space, because having done the Wild Geese storyline, they are not my biggest fan. They're probably either up here by Korea, or here in Arcturus. I swear. I really should download the mod, which makes this font easier to read. But either way, so I think we should just treat that as a serendipitous thing. Then I'm sure we'll go back to the system we picked those up in. And when we do, we can take care of whatever random hostiles that pop up. But, hey, when I came back to my home after my extended 6-week program, a little bit of a academic program, I noticed that people had actually not only watched my prior videos, or at least the VODs of them up on YouTube, but some people had even liked them. And, you know, that's just the best feeling, that people are not only willing to watch this kind of content for a game that's more than a decade old, but willing to watch enough of it to decide that they actually like it. And that's just amazing. So thank you if you're taking the time to watch this stuff, and I really hope you stick around, because I have a great time playing it, and it just really is great to get more interest into this fantastic game. Alright, so we're on Viking, and I believe we're going to meet Uncle Olaf in the bar. Indeed, indeed. So, you duck into the small spaceport bar, and wait a moment for your eyes to adjust. The hollowed owl hasn't changed much since your academy days. A little more rust, a little more stench, pretty much the same. A man with immense shoulders and flowing gray locks sits at a table off to the side of the bar. Your Uncle Olaf. Okay. I swear I need to go through and fix some of the grammar. That just doesn't flow very well. You can barely contain your joy at seeing him after 10 years, and by the tears welling in his eyes you can see that he's similarly affected. Well, young'un, you've grown all out of proportion, he says, eyeing you up and down with, avuncular approval. I actually don't know what that means. Grub must be good at that academy, but small talk can wait. There's little time and much to do. He looks you straight in the eye. Do you think you're ready? So the interesting thing about the pirate storyline is, because you're related to the mission giver, you actually get a lot of canon backstory for your character, which is completely out of character for the rest of the storylines, which treat you as some random shipping courier, and you're left to fill in the blanks about what you did before you started the game on your own. But this gives you the canon take on what supposedly you were doing. You went to the academy, you used to be acquainted at least with your Uncle Olaf, who is this big pirate guy, and there's some later story that I won't spoil now, but it's a very unusual take on the EV Nova storylines. It's kind of the odd man out. But, you know, it's a great storyline, and it only kind of tangentially intersects with the other ones, unlike some which have a particularly heavy overlap, such as you might expect, the Federation and the Rebel storylines. So I think it's a great one to start with. So that being said, I think we are ready to embark on our pirate adventure. As you nod in response to his question, he looks so proud as to almost burst. You're a credit to your blood, young'un. Do you know... Okay, I'm not going to do the Scottish accent. It's obviously intended, but I'm just not going to do it. If Morgan was here, Uncle Olaf trails off as he becomes lost in memory. Well, you're here now. What am I to do with you? I suppose I'd better give you something to keep you occupied until I can make some better plans. Are you up to taking care of some business for me? It's nothing arduous, just a shuttle run to the Sol system to pick up a crate of cargo data. I'm sorry, a cargo of data crystal replacements. You'll hand it for your old uncle. He asks you with that silly, beatific smile you remember from so long ago. Of course, uncle, you reply. He smiles again and hugs your shoulders. Good for you, Bonnie, he laughs, using the pet name from your childhood. Now, how about a drink? With that, you become pleasantly lost in talk until you have to start the cargo run. So this is the standard lead-in, and you can actually pick this up just by hanging around Viking. You'll eventually get an offer to go do cargo runs, and oh, surprise, surprise, it's your Uncle Olaf. But I've always gone through the Wild Geese storyline just because you seem to be far more likely to get the Wild Geese hook than the pirate hook. And if you do get the Wild Geese hook and don't turn it down, there's a very small chance that you're able to get out of it without embarking on either the Auroran or the pirate storylines. And so if you don't want to do the Auroran storyline, which is quite long, it's quite good, but quite long, you end up like aborting into the pirate storyline. And, you know, I'm okay with that. You break quite a sweat as you load the cargo into the hold of your ship. As you work, you cannot help but wonder what your uncle has been up to for the last 10 years. All right. So the text actually presents an interesting conundrum. I hang out on the EV Nova subreddit, which is just r/EVNova, and people have actually written mods to address the small text issue, but the one I most recently remember seeing actually changes this font in your entire system, like even outside the game. So I'm a little bit hesitant to do that. I'm just going to keep straining my eyes and probably reading things wrong to avoid the headache of potentially messing up other programs that happen to use the same font. Dock workers quickly offload the data crystals. You get the impression that Olaf is pretty well known around the Federation docks. You imagine it must be something to do with the work for the Sol Dock Workers Union during the strike of 22. Apparently Olaf was targeted by the Bureau for upholding workers' rights, and most of the guys remember him with affection. Alright, so a good union man. I'm not sure, like, if this is the best thing, like, associating unions with illegal activity, but I think they mean it in a good way. Either way. Olaf greets you as you land. Good to see you, my brave Bonnie. How was your trip? You tell Olaf that your trip was fine, and that the dock workers fast-tracked all the data crystals through the offloading process just for you. Olaf doesn't look surprised. Most of those fellows used to crew ships at one time or another. Most of them were good crew as well. The Bureau kicked a lot of arse about a year after your father's death, and a lot of fellows wouldn't be told what to do, and found themselves without an owner's ticket. Now, most of them fellows were uneducated, and only knew how to crew. So when that stinking Bureau revoked their tickets, it was illegal to put them into my ship, from Shuttle to Leviathan. Most of them lost the only livelihood they had, so I pulled a lot of strings around some contacts and got them jobs up in the docks. The Bureau tried to remove vital parts of my anatomy, and for that, I'll stunt. I'm not sure what he means by "I'll stunt." For the lads stood firm and showed how a dock can close down pretty quick. Soon enough, the situation settled down. Come to the bar and we'll spend some of your hard-earned, your hard-earned. I tell you, the accent, I don't know how I feel about it. I get what they're trying to go for, but it can make it a little bit, I don't know, exaggerated. He throws his arm around your shoulders and you head off to Club Scrun for a couple of odd cold ones. Alright. Try to remove vital parts of my anatomy. For that, I'll stunt. That's an odd one. I don't know what to tell you. Let's see if we can pick up some good pirate outfits. Wow, a surprisingly sparse outfitter today on Viking. That's okay. We already have the pirate jammer, which is, as they say, the best thing you're going to get outside Polaris space. And I think, yeah, we also have the pirate sensor boost, so I actually forget if we've gotten, like, vector thrusters in this yet, but we'll see. I could probably sell the marine platoons and pick up more railguns, but I believe because we're using the class 4 Valkyrie, I don't think we really need the railguns with our heavy platoon of ion beams. Now that I've given you a little test and found that you can sail pretty well in a little ship of yours around the universe, I need you to take some supplies to misfire in the Trikica system and then return here. I've been stockpiling some supplies and stuff for you over the years, and soon enough I think we'll have enough cash for you to buy a better ship and start doing some real work towards your destiny. I know the day-old reckoning seems far off, but while you was learning to sail and lead and navigate, I was putting into place all the mechanisms for you to retake what was rightfully yours in the first place. You feel a lump rise in your throat. You heard from Uncle Olaf often enough during your years at the academy, but he would never tell you exactly what he was doing. Now you know. You feel a swell of pride and affection for the big man before you. A swell of pride and accomplishment. The stock turns out to be a number of data cubes. It all looks to be pretty bland stuff. Educational films and the like. You find a copy of Jaws 557, Sharks in Space, and chuckle to yourself. The sharks still look fake. Olaf returns with a loader, and the two of you begin to push cargo. I mean, this game came out in 2002, and somehow they managed to predict, like, the 10th installment of Sharknado. I'm very impressed. Sharknado. Why'd I go back to the Outfitters? Alright. So this is still the early milk run stages of these missions. Pretty straightforward. Go here, pick up that, do the thing. But hey, they all kind of start out like this, and amusingly enough, we're going to get to a mission string later on, which is, at least among people I've talked to, kind of infamous for just being in every storyline, and it's just this long, kind of tedious number of cargo runs that don't really do much. And, you know, it's the low point of any campaign or any main story string that contains it, but you gotta do it. An official-looking woman named Miss Hillary Crosby Roberts, is this the Dread Pirate Roberts, meets you at the dock as the dock workers begin to offload the hollow cubes. She stares down her long, pointy nose at your dirty overalls and quickly pushes a non-existent hair back into place in the wire brush growth on her head. You get the impression that Miss Crosby Roberts doesn't come down here too often, nor anywhere where dirt might exist. She quickly thanks you for making the delivery and passes you a chip for 30,000 credits. You whistle under your breath. She must have really needed those hollow cubes. That is the nice thing about the pirate storyline, is I believe it's the best paying. Like, there is a mission later on where I believe they do just give you 500,000 credits. And that's insane. We could do... Oh, hey, an urgent delivery to Viking. I was about to say, we could do a United Shipping's mission, but hey, if we're going to Viking anyway, why on earth would we do any other mission, especially when this one pays 40,000 credits? Not that we're really hurting for credits at the moment. That is the nice thing about being able to do, like, raiding, is that those big manticores and pirate carriers often come with a nice payday when you take them down. Alright, nothing too interesting. Oh, yes. My suspicions were correct. So you saw the Rage gunboat in the last system. That usually only appears, to my knowledge, after you've done the Gil Technia mission, side mission string. And apparently we have, because that's the only way you get the Polaris cannon. Which is kind of amusing, because even if you do the Polaris mission string, they don't have a weapon called the Polaris cannon. They have manta beams. So, just one of those facts. Alrighty. Back to Viking. You return to Viking without too many problems. The occasional pirate skims past you, but despite your beloved, the lean, mean stream machine probably being on her list to watch closely, you managed to keep them from finding out what was in your cargo hold. Piracy was once a random attacking of many smaller ships by loosely organized fleets. Now with McGowan running things, it's gotten out of control. You don't hold out much hope that one day the Federations will spend much effort trying to capture the man, especially with his links to the Bureau. Unfortunately, until someone does something about him, most shipping lanes will be at his mercy. So this is kind of the tangential tie into the other storylines, is that with the Wild Geese, it's primarily dealing with McGowan. And when you do the Federation storyline, you do have some contact with McGowan's organization, because supposedly they're in cahoots. But that's kind of the only overlap you really get. Alright. Also, here's that mission we just picked up. Group of dock workers unloads our shipment. Gets a nice little payday. Once again, let's just take a quick look at the outfitter. You never know when there might be something you want to buy. But, at least for the time being, I think we're good. And apparently, Uncle Olaf has not prepared an expedition yet. So let's go do something interesting. We could do bounty. Yeah, actually, we're going to go try to clean up those other bounties I picked up. Now, I'm not going to go back and watch the VOD to make sure I'm going to the right system. I'm just going to peer into the past and think about, gee, if I were going to accept a bounty, where would I have been? And what's the most likely place for those bounties to appear? And I think it's probably going to be off of this system, the Geoff system. That or Korea. Alright, it's not here. Because usually they jump in pretty quickly. Actually, it could be right next to Rimshot if we were doing the Giltechnia mission chain. Because I probably wouldn't take one in Korea, because there's 3 systems off of Korea. Which means, so when you do a bounty, they can spawn in any of the systems neighboring that system. And so you're always incentivized to take bounties in terminus systems. So ones that don't neighbor any other systems besides one. One way in, one way out. Ho ho. This looks fun though. And low it is. Just blow it all up. Unfortunately, we're in a wild geese system, and so they're going to just destroy anything we disable. But hey, nothing wrong with that. Once again, we can do some wild geese missions if we go there, but the wild geese missions always pay poorly and don't lead to any other larger purpose. They're just kind of there for flavor. Alright. Bounty? Huh. You know, I didn't really expect that. Alright, I'm kind of stumped. Let's go see if we can get the next thing in the Giltechnia mission chain, though. Because there are some goodies if you follow it through to the end. Hey, look at that. Alright. As you browse through many ship outfits on offer, you see the slim figure and dark hair of Sharon Masterton walking into the room, and you wave her over. I have a very dangerous mission for you, she tells you in a tone that implies that she means business. We want to look at developing a weapon currently only to be held by a foreign government. What we'll be doing is highly illegal, and you might be killed if you're caught. Are you in? Of course we're in. We want to look at what the Polaris called the Wraith Cannon, she tells you quietly. We know it uses Polaris technology. We want to know a little more about it. So we want you to go to the Polaris names. Nilla Mjolnir in the Mjolnir system, and take a few photographs of a Wraith Cannon, and the Wraith Eye it fires. If we get our hands on this technology, she shares with you slyly, it'll be worth billions, with a B. So if we make it back here, be prepared to pay you 500,000 credits. Oh, there's another one of the very well-paying missions. Believe me, if you can get past Polaris security and make it back here in one piece, you will have earned it. So the big appeal of this is not actually the money, it's the technology. That Wraith Eye are, I believe, the best missile weapon in the game, kind of. I mean, you can make an argument for the EMP missiles because they don't destroy your target, but Wraith Eye do, like, excellent damage. So, that's a plus. The downside of this, however, is if you are doing a storyline that involves going into Polaris space as for like a diplomatic mission, they do treat these Wraith Eye and Wraith Cannons that you get from completing this as stolen technology, and they will attack you on sight. And if there's one thing you don't want, it's to be attacked on sight by Polaris ships. They are vicious. They just melt shields and armor. So we're going to do our best to be in and out as fast as possible. I should actually check if I have an afterburner. Because I do. Yes, I do. Because if I don't have an afterburner, outrunning those mantas is going to be a real pain. Yeah, just this. Yep. I was going to say we'll tab over to the pirate Enterprise and watch them get melted, but they did indeed get melted before I even had a chance to. Alright, so somehow they've allowed us to dock on this hostile station because story reasons. Trying to look like you might know what you're doing as you head down to what appears to be bays of the Polaris ship The Polaris repair their damaged ships. You get a few odd looks, but luckily no one asks you any questions. You walk around and take a few stereotypous snaps of a wraith cannon as it is being reattached to an arachnid, and take a few quick pictures of a series of the fluorescent purple packets of energy that are called the Wraitheye, as they are loaded on board as well. Remaining casual, you make your way back to your ship and stow away your pictures before heading out into space and try to slip through the Polaris defense net and make your way back to Giltechnia on the rimshot system. So we'll see if it automatically jettisons us out into space. No, good, because I'd like to buy a map. It doesn't reveal much, but it does do something. Alright, this is the hard part. It's getting back. Also, cool, you can sell the Velo sculpture junk here. Not really important. We can't get any missions because there's not Polaris. Alright, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Hey, this might actually be, I dare I say, easy. You can really get unlucky and have that system be full of like scarabs and arachnids, and it is just not a fun time. You usually end up dying. But we're going to jump away before that manta can reach us, and I think we might be in the clear, knock on wood. Alright, so let me just say, that's not always the norm. That's not always the case. I have been blown up quite a few times doing that mission. But hey. So one of the neat things is that the Rage gunboats are actually equipped with Polaris cannons, and this is the in-universe explanation on how the Federation has access to that kind of technology. Again, just those little things that all tie everything together is what makes this game so rich and rewarding. Alright, you're met by a beaming Sharon when you land. I'm impressed, she congratulates you warmly. As far as I'm aware, you are the first person who has been able to make it through the Polaris defense grid alive. Is there something you're not telling us? She laughs and you grin. I mean, I'm a pirate king, what can I say? So where are the photographs? She asked, becoming more serious. And you head back on board to fish them out and hand them over. She takes a few minutes to scan them. This is exactly what we were after. It is worth every cent we are paying you. We need to get these to the appropriate people, she tells you, all business again. But keep an eye out in the outfitting area if you want to be the one to test the new weapons when we actually manufacture it. We definitely do. Because, like with the earlier missions, it doesn't matter that we're full on outfits, it makes room. And so you always want to do, if you can, these missions right at the end of your ship outfitting process. Because you can fill up your ship to the brim and then do these missions. And, you know, it just lets you kind of... I hesitate to say cheat, because you can obviously do it within the game without manipulating anything. But it allows you to artificially expand your outfit allotment. I don't know if it'll allow you to expand your turret limit, because I know that or missile bay limit, or whatever it's called. If you're already full when you get, say, the Wake missile launcher, but I would have to imagine so. I don't see them having considered one and not the other. But hey, maybe they did. Let's talk to a Rage gunboat real quick. Like, they're a well-designed ship. Like, this is a very nice, compact, sleek design. Join us against the Savage Aurorans. No, not gonna happen. Hey, Olaf is waiting for us. You've barely stepped into the bar when Olaf pushes you back out. Sorry, kid, he says, but I've got a rush delivered to Space Dock 3 in the Alpharis system. You need to get going right away. Feel up to it? You sigh. Olaf has always been keen on keeping things working overtime. On keeping things working overtime. Alright. Could have just said always been keen on working overtime. You nod your assent and turn and start heading back to the port. Could just be you nod your assent, comma, turn, comma, and start heading back to the port. God, do that Oxford comma every time. Alright, Olaf walks beside you and briefs you on your upcoming trip on the way. You've got to get to Space Dock 3, but I'm afraid it might be harder than you think. You're going to be shipping some incredibly expensive military hardware for the Federation Navy, in an attempt to avoid being attacked by a huge pirate fleet while so much action is going on in the Auroran border. The fleet is shipping the most vital components on private freighters. The mission is very hush-hush, but you should take care anyway. The criminal underbelly would certainly love to lay their hands on this stuff. not to mention the Aurorans. Take care and be as quick as possible. Once you're done, come back and see me. I'll have more work for you. What we will make from this will speed up my plans by a substantial amount. So Godspeed and good luck. This is kind of amusing because I had not realized it, but this is the kind of the first thing you end up doing in the Federation storyline is these cargo runs to the various space docks. So maybe there's more of a connection than I had initially let on. Alright, so I'm going to tell these guys to... I was going to tell them to follow, but I seems to have forgotten the keystroke for that. So I guess they're just going to attack everything. And you know what? They're class 4 Valkyries. They can probably beat anything that's going to attack them besides, say, maybe a carrier. Maybe I'll avoid getting such a capable coterie in the future storylines, because it does make it kind of easy. A group of Federation dock workers are being escorted by a large squad of security police. You begin to look about how many eyes are watching the cargo being unloaded, and knowing the name of your ship, its armaments or lack thereof, and passing information on to much more dangerous others. It makes your skin crawl, but it would do some serious damage to your reputation to back out at such a late stage. You just have to get ahead with it. Keep your eyes open and hope for the best. It is with a rueful smile that you kiss goodbye to your anonymity. Yeah, no kidding. Anything good here? So with Space Dock we can buy licenses, but we don't need any licenses because we're a pirate. I'm gonna buy a map. I probably have all the systems adjacent to this one, but it's just a force of habit. Nothing really particularly interesting here. So, where are we going? Back to Chell. And we can probably even take the Hypergate. Oh, I never did that. That's what was, lingering in the back of my mind. I never actually finished the missions for the Sigma Shipyard Company. We're going to try to do that, I think. I'm going to wait until after this little mission string's over, because I don't particularly want to do it while pirates are breathing down my neck, even if I can take them. But, wait, I'm going back to Viking? Why? Also, thank you, Armada. Just melting whatever that was. You cannot help feeling that you may as well have not bothered with all the time you spent on repairs, now that the various pirates know that you handle major cargo. Much of the entire trip back has been spent hastily jumping into hyperspace to avoid pursuing pirate ships. You have never been happier to set down in your life. The Federation Navy cargo handlers whistle under their breath at the extent of the laser scarring and armor damage. To say you are glad to be rid of this secret cargo would be an understatement. It feels as if every pirate in the universe was trying to kill you, and all for the crates that are being unloaded. You don't even know what's in them. Very true. Hey, might be Wraith-Eye cannons, am I right? You asked one of the cargo handlers was actually in the crates, but one of the naval officers stepped forward and says, "Sorry, that information is classified, and only released on a need-to-know basis, and unfortunately, you do not need to know." He spins on his heel and walks away. You feel like telling him that you do need to know, as you're about to spend hours and credits repairing a ship that was pounded half to pus in getting the goods here. Before you can say this, however, a junior officer steps forward and hands you a chip for 50,000 credits. Your protests stop in your throat, and you start planning the upgrades to your ship, and you can now make thanks to the Federation Navy. Alright, very nice. Made a nice tidy profit. I don't know why I keep going back to the outfitter with no cargo space, but hey. I just buy a Manticore, just go absolutely crazy. Just buy a carrier. No, I don't think so. Let's try to finish that Sigma Shipyards storyline, because getting Hypergate access does make pretty much everything easier. But it's well worth it. But of course, getting that mission string to spawn is going to take forever, as it always seems to. So let's see if we can go do the rest of that testing for the Giltechnia system. Or Giltechnia company. There's actually an amusing bit of flavor text that the Giltechnia company used to be called the Glimmer Company until they discovered the Glimmer system and had to change their name. And the Glimmer system, I believe, is just on this adjacent arm. Yep, it's right here. Kind of amusing. Alrighty. Oh yeah, here we go. Formerly known as Glimmer until the discovery of the Glimmer system. Oh, come on. They're going to make us wait for everything. That's okay. I guess we could take a bounty. We'll just take a bounty, swing back here, and see if we can't pick up that hook. Who are you attacking? Probably the Auroran. I don't know why Aurorans show up in the rimshot system, seeing as I believe Giltechnia is at least kind of allied with the Federation Navy. Blow up that Auroran. Mission complete. For some reason, I think a stray shot may have hit this Fed, so we're not going to worry about it. We're just going to leave. The Federation will have interesting opinions of us. Bam. The pirate Pegasi is a little bit unusual. Like, why would you... Oh, God. I don't know why the Federation has decided that... Oh, I'm sorry, those are the Aurorans. Why we're such a hazard. Oh, you just saw it. That Rage Gunboat useless Wraith Eye. I don't want any part of that. Even though I'm sure I could definitely take down one Rage Gunboat. They're just a nuisance, as they're kind of supposed to be. And a pack of Rage Gunboat are just deadly. So you, unfortunately, do often see them in packs. Alright, so we're not getting the hook right now. I will take this ferry passengers to Viking, because we're going back there anyway. And it's, even though it's small potatoes, like 5,000 credits, whatever. You don't leave 5,000 credits just on the table. But let's see if we can just pick up this Sigma Shipyards delivery. And cash in our bounty, of course. Where, oh where did I pick up those two other bounties? It's going to drive me crazy. But I refuse to go watch the VOD and figure it out. What can I say? Principle. Alright. Let's go pick up the next link in the pirate chain, I guess. Nothing to it but to do it. The passengers pay your agreed-upon fee. Oh, look, a pirate Valkyrie, which is way worse than ours. Let's just not hover over the buy ship button. We went through great pains to get this one. I don't want to trade it in by accident. Although it does ask you to confirm and stuff, so it's not really an issue. Alright, let me take a sip of my coffee before I read this out. Olaf turns to you as you enter the bar. The last run has left you feeling a little drained. Your clashes with pirates have left you short on fuel and patience. Rough trip, Olaf says as he raises a quizzical eyebrow in your direction. I am sick to death of having to deal with these pirates, you say, waving for a drink. So that's also remarkable. Generally speaking, you don't talk. Like in the big storylines, is you're almost never given spoken dialogue. It's usually you nod in the affirmative, or you tell them some quick thing about pirate difficulties. So that's, it's very clear that. Actually, I don't know if they had someone else write this storyline. It feels like they did, but I suppose I don't actually have confirmation on that. Next time I watch the credits, I should check, or maybe ask about it on the subreddit. They are making life increasingly difficult for honest folk to make a living. I'm going to have to kill a few people if this keeps up. But I have to admit that I don't mind saying that I'd kill off a hell of a lot more if I had the opportunity. With the Federation Navy under the thumb of the Bureau, and the Bureau in league with these thugs, nothing will ever get done. So wow, we not only had a quick line, we had a whole diatribe about piracy and murder. You see a dark look cross Olaf's face, and you catch yourself wondering what could have left Olaf so bitter. For as long as you have known him, he's held a grudge against the central government. You've always felt it was because Olaf was a fair man, and one who's not afraid to speak out against injustice. In his lifetime, he has seen many horrible episodes, including the death of your parents. He has never spoken of it to you, but you know the scars still run deep in his heart from the events of that day. So, I tell you guys, it's true. We're Space Batman. His gaze returns to your eyes, and you get the impression that the time is coming near for him to unburden himself of the horror he's carried for too long. Listen, he whispers as he takes your hand in his. Back in the old days, your father was feeling much the same way. Cutthroats intercepted his shipments, and the Federation made legal trade almost impossible, with their export taxes and their exorbitant charges for escorts and other protection. The Federation bled the small companies dry with their tithes, while cultivating the old Leviathans and their rich hereditary owners. They maintained their monopoly with their kickbacks. Seeing unions and associations have been outlawed, your father decided to form a secret organization. The Association of Free Traders was formed. We shared information and risk by traveling in our own convoys with ships modified to carry armaments. We built our own shipyard out of the galactic north while I was chief designer. Scroll speed is very slow, so we're just going to do this the once. Oh, this is a long one. It wasn't that we were criminals, we just realized that the system wasn't fair to people like us, and it was our duty to find ways to circumvent its holds. As your father used to say, when injustice becomes law, then resistance becomes duty. All right, Jefferson. So what happened, you ask? Olaf expression darkens. McGowan. With that, your own expression darkens. That black-hearted monster. You swear venomously. Yes, McGowan. He agrees angrily. You see, your dad's become known as the Pirate King, and life was good. His ship Unrelenting was one of the greatest ships that I or anyone had ever built. She was a heavily modified carrier, with a better weapons platform and more powerful engines. Slowly began to lose more and more shipments to the Federation, and your father sent McGowan to investigate why. Your father has seen his smarts and put him on the board of advisors, the controlling body of the association. McGowan organized a meeting between your father, the board of advisors, and other privateers who hadn't joined the association. He said that they had information vital to the association's survival. And we're going to do more scrolling. Okay, there we go. And so the Unrelenting and the other exited hyperspace of the meeting area, a far-off system inhabited by no bugger, only to find the mother of all Federation battle fleets waiting for them. It was a trap, and McGowan had betrayed us all. Your father marshaled a fierce last stand, allowing most of the fleets to jump to safety, but he was killed in the process along with your mum and almost every friend I have ever known. I was one of the few to make it off the Unrelenting alive, and I brought you with me. I vowed that they would be avenged, but I knew that I was not the man to do it. My responsibility was to keep the promise I made to your mother and keep you alive, so that you may take your place at the head of the Organization of Free Traders. And so, that you can make the Federation pay for their corruption and avenge your parents by killing that black-hearted McGowan. So there we go. That's the overarching goal of the pirate storyline, is to go kill McGowan, which kind of makes it the natural conclusion of the Wild Geese storyline, or at least the quote-unquote failed Wild Geese storyline. The story that Olaf has told you has made your blood boil. Where do I begin, you ask? Visions of the innocent people of New Ireland and your own family flitting through your mind, fueling your desire for revenge. Remember, the secret of having a strong organization is to have lots of members. Even now, many old hands keep at their trades, slipping secret shipments, tongue twister, of contraband through the Federation space. The structure of the association is pretty much in place, less those who joined the rebels. The first thing you have to do is convince them you're trustworthy. I've held as much together in these past years as I could. I know I should have probably told you about it, but I didn't want to place you under any pressure. Our past few runs have been very good, and the people I've kept in contact are happy to sign on. You should go to the Kodak in the Codehaven system and speak to Dace. She was your father's bookkeeper in the old days, and she's minded things best she could. I'm afraid that some of your father's money has gone to funding things for the rebels, but I knew that while your father's allegiance would have been if he'd been alive. However, there is still a large inheritance to be collected from Dace. Also let her know that the association is back underway again, and to expect membership fees to be coming soon. Once you've done all that, head back to me. Alrighty, so that is the next part of this pirate storyline. We're going to go meet with Dace, and then I think I'm going to take a quick break, maybe pick this up in the evening. But it is good to be back, let me just say. Alright, so this is one of the silly things. If you actually go to the description of the carrier in the pirate shipyard, it mentions there are two. There are two in existence. But you do just see them flying around. I'm pretty sure it just says there are two. There's the Unrelenting and one other, which I believe is maybe McGowan's ship. The Ball and Chain. And I mean, they could have made it so no one else has them until you unlock it, which is the case with another ship in the game, which we'll see in a different storyline, but I guess they just decided not to. Things are going on there. That's fine. Alright. Dace's office is in a dingy back alley far away from the spaceport. Upon entering, you're surprised to see the obvious opulence of the furnishings. Dace appears, smiling at you as she recognizes you. Ah, you must be Pyre Valor. She waves behind you, and you turn to see a huge man step out of a hidden alcove. He is huge, with bulging arms and long black hair. In his hands is a painful-looking blaster pistol, so large that the recoil from it would tear your arms out of their sockets. This is Hargor Both Barrels. Okay, an old friend of mine. Your father found him in a burnt-out wreck of an Auroran cruiser. He was the ship's boy, the only survivor. He swore an oath to serve your family as long as he lived. Most of us call him Gore. His handshake nearly crushes your hand, and Dace smiles knowingly. In a back room, she hands you a credit stick. It's not much, but it's all we've managed to, it's all we have managed... I'm sorry. It's all we have lying around at the minute, she notes quietly, and you raise your eyebrows. The credit stick is worth 480,000, which is a fair chunk of cash in anyone's vernacular. And this is lying around cash. You cannot wait to see what the serious money is like. After a couple moments, you shake off your surprise and quickly pass to her that the Association of Free Traders will be running and expect membership fees. It's been an honor working with you, she concludes quietly. With that, you head back with a healthier bank balance and the feeling that you're about to spend a lot of money. Although for us, because we did all the trading and raiding, that really isn't a lot of money for us, but okay. So, here we go. Pirate Guild Master. And I think that's where we're going to leave it for now. Thank you for joining me. It's great to be back, and we're going to really have a great time doing the rest of this pirate campaign. All right, bye-bye.